Hey guys, okay, so today I want to talk about trigger warnings and the need for them. I know that this can sometimes be a touchy subject. Some authors don't feel that their books need a trigger warning. Some authors feel that if readers can't handle certain topics, they shouldn't be reading certain genres. My personal opinion is that your blurb should be good enough to indicate what is in your story. But if you're writing something that can be really brutal, like rape or sexual assault or domestic violence or child abuse or even a child death that can be severely triggering for someone, it never hurts to toss in a trigger warning at the beginning of the book. I find, honestly, toss it in what your blurb is. Here's why. This is something that I have noticed personally when I read Kindle books. When you read a Kindle book, unless you go back to the front cover and then scroll page by page until you hit chapter 1, that book automatically opens up at either your prologue or chapter 1. It skips everything before that. It skips any table of contents. It skips any author's notes, acknowledgments, everything. It skips it all. It goes right to the beginning of the book. So if you put a trigger warning at the beginning of the book, nobody's going to see it. You put a trigger warning at the end of the book, well, too late. They've already read the book. I feel like if you have to put a trigger warning in your book because it deals with those topics that can be very tragic and triggering for people who have experienced these things, it never hurts to have your blurb just be like, oh yeah, this so and so, this happens, and then at the bottom, trigger warning does contain, and you don't have to list everything. Certain genres, there are things that are expected. If you're reading a murder mystery, murder is expected. You're not going to be surprised when the main character stumbles across a dead body because you're reading a murder mystery. But things like, oh, okay, the murder victim is a child. Okay, child death, or there's a sexual assault, that kind of thing. Something that will, so that way when the reader goes to read the book, they have an idea of what's going to happen in the book. They have an idea that, there's going to be a tragic death, or there's going to be an attempted sexual assault, or there's going to be, so that way they are prepared when they actually read that book. This will help with your reviews too, because a lot of times readers will leave reviews stating, oh, I enjoyed the book, but this, shocking part threw me off. And I really wish that there had been a warning for it. I've seen authors get lower starred reviews because they didn't have a trigger warning. I've seen authors get lower star reviews because their book wasn't listed in all the correct genres, and then there was like a big twist, and the twist was triggering for people. So it's just kind of one of those things where you want to prepare the reader for what they're going into. And if your blurb doesn't prepare them enough, because obviously there are some things that you don't want to say in the blurb because it spoils your big twist, or it spoils a surprise that you kind of snuck in at the end that kind of explains a character's development. In that case, then you want to make sure that what you have a trigger warning that kind of, oh, hey, this is going to happen, or this is what they're dealing with, or this is instances that you may see in the book, without actually giving away what character it happens to, where it happens in the book, so that it doesn't spoil the surprise. You're trying to give a heads up without spoiling the surprise. But trigger warnings are definitely something that is recommended. Especially if you're writing in a darker genre, dark fantasy, grimdark kind of thing, definitely will require trigger warnings. But just a heads up, just to give your reader something to be like, okay, I may not be able to read this at this time, or, that kind of thing. But yeah, happy writing.